Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we are talking about how good we eat affects our brain. Every aspect of our lives is controlled by our brain, our thoughts, movements, breathing, heartbeat, senses, and more. And like everything else in our bodies, the brain requires energy in the form of the foods we eat. By paying close attention to the foods we eat, we're able to control how well our brains perform physically, intellectually, and emotionally. Research has shown that there is a correlation between mood and food. Today, the rapidly growing field of nutritional psychiatry is finding there are many connections between what we eat and the types of bacteria that live in our guts, which affect how we feel and even how we behave. How food affects your mood. The inner workings of our digestive systems don't just help us digest food, they also guide our emotions. Our bodies produce serotonin, a neurotransmitter that helps regulate sleep and appetite, mediate moods, and inhibit pain. 95% of serotonin is produced in our gastrointestinal tract, which is lined with millions of nerve cells, or neurons. The function of these neurons and the production of serotonin is highly influenced by the billions of good bacteria that make up our intestinal microbiome. These bacteria play an essential role in our health. They protect the lining of our intestines and provide a strong barrier against toxins and bad bacteria. They also limit inflammation, improve how well we absorb nutrients from food, and activate neural pathways that travel directly between the gut and brain. Recent research shows that when people take probiotics, which contain good bacteria, their anxiety levels, perception of stress, and mental outlook improve, compared with those who do not take probiotics. Other studies have compared traditional diets, like the Mediterranean diet and the traditional Japanese diet, to a typical Western diet and have shown the risk of depression is 25 to 35% lower in those who eat a traditional Japanese or Mediterranean diet. Scientists account for this difference because these traditional diets tend to be high in fruits, vegetables, unprocessed grains, fish, and contain only modest amounts of lean meats and dairy. These diets are also free from processed and refined foods and sugars, which are staples of Western dietary patterns. In addition, many of these unprocessed foods are fermented, and therefore act as natural probiotics. The good bacteria in fermented foods influence how we digest food, absorb nutrients, and can even affect the level of inflammation throughout our bodies, leading to improved mood and energy levels. How do carbohydrates affect the brain? The brain only accounts for approximately 2% of our body weight, but it consumes almost 20% of glucose-derived energy, meaning that nutrition is key for brain function. Glucose forms the building blocks of carbohydrates and plays a role in the production of serotonin in the brain. Serotonin is a neurotransmitter that is widely accepted to be responsible for balancing mood and anxiety. The greatest source of energy for our brain comes from carbohydrates such as whole grains, vegetables, fruit, rice, potatoes, and lactose, the sugar found in milk. These are considered healthy sources of carbohydrates that are broken down by the body into glucose and then used by our brain to function. Without an adequate supply of glucose, the brain cannot function correctly. How do probiotics affect the brain? It is widely accepted that there is two-way communication between the gastrointestinal tract and the central nervous system through biochemical signaling. This is sometimes referred to as the gut-brain axis, describing the link between the cognitive and emotional areas of the brain to our gut. There has recently been a lot of interest in the role of probiotics, gut, and brain function. It is believed that probiotics change the processing of information in the gut that is strongly linked to anxiety and depression. A small study involving 20 healthy participants found that, compared to those taking a placebo, people who took a probiotic food supplement experienced fewer negative thoughts associated with sad moods. A further small study showed that healthy women who ate probiotic-rich yogurts for 4 weeks had a reduced emotional response when shown photos of people who were fearful, angry, or sad. While these studies are certainly encouraging, they are limited in size and scope, and further studies are needed before we can draw any firm conclusions as to exactly how and why probiotics might affect mood. How do fats affect the brain? Specific fats are very important to the brain as they are a key component in the structure of cell membranes and they play a role in the structure and function of neurons. We know that approximately 60% of the brain is made up of omega-3 fats, with DHA, a type of omega-3 fat found in fish, being the main type, responsible for eye and mental development. Omega-3 fats found in olive oil, oily fish such as salmon, herring and sardines are essential for brain development in the womb and early childhood. The majority of brain cells are developed before birth, with the remaining being laid down in the first year of life. For this reason, omega-3 fats are key during pregnancy and early childhood. There is also evidence to suggest dietary deficiency in omega-3 fats can have an adverse effect on cognition. Also, a high intake of these fats has been associated with a reduction in the development and progression of dementia. Despite these encouraging results, cause and effect has yet to be definitively demonstrated, so again, larger studies are needed before we can determine for sure the relationship between fat intake and cognitive health. How does caffeine affect the brain? Caffeine is widely accepted to be one of the most commonly used psychoactive substances worldwide that is found in a wide variety of foods and drinks. In small doses it is an ergogenic aid, performance-enhancing substance, acting on the central nervous system to delay tiredness and increase alertness. The caffeine found in tea may be beneficial for cognition in older adults, but may be problematic for those who have trouble sleeping. Human epidemiologic studies have reported better cognitive function amongst tea and coffee drinkers for years. A recent meta-analysis evaluating the existing evidence of caffeine and health outcomes concluded that caffeine was consistently associated with a lower risk of Parkinson's disease, depression and cognitive disorders for Alzheimer's disease. However, exactly how and why this occurs is unclear from these studies. I hope you guys liked the video, and for more stuff like this, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. See you soon. Goodbye.